Hey all, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be adding the ability for us to complete our tasks, except we want to be able to input some data in them. So we'll actually go and see what I mean a little bit more here. Let's go ahead and get our Docker up, our app running locally. Here we go. Let's sign in. All right. So what I mean by this is currently you can click a node. Let's interesting. We are getting a bad task here. Oh, it's because this is probably a numeric. Yeah. And so this is actually already showing what our problem is. So right now we can complete these, but we can't complete these numerical ones, and that's because we need to actually put an input. It's not just a green box. So what we want to actually do is, instead of when we click these, they turn on and off, we want to pop open a modal, and then in that modal, we'll press something like complete, and we'll also do will also allow us to add in stuff like a numeric option, and then eventually we'll be able to put in other types of inputs like photograph or emoji or anything like that. So let's jump in to where this is at in our code. We've got our app, and yeah, today's going to be kind of a working video again too, and we're going to meander our way around as we figure out how to do this. So it's not on these add, edit, anything like this. It's going to come from our task list, I believe. So streak summary. That doesn't look like it. Maybe it's our container. Monthly header. Here's our task list. Yeah, our task list should, yes. So right here is, yes, on day click. So this on day click is actually where we want to open up a modal now, instead of just, so, and that's what we'll do. We're just going to say on day click, and then we're going to open up a modal when we actually open this. So let's go ahead and we'll look at, when we press add task, we're going to have a very similar modal to this. So if we do our add task, you'll see that we get this. We don't need to console log any of this stuff out. Let's refresh. Let's see where it says re-rendering. We can get rid of this. Okay. So let's see how we are actually opening. Yeah, so it's probably this guy here, this open. And when we're open, we're going to open this dialog. So for now, what we'll do is, we have this task list. We are going to just go ahead and open up a new dialog. We're just going to go ahead and open this guy here, and we're going to call this a task complete modal, or we'll call it a task complete dialog .tsx. We're just going to throw all this in there, even though we are going to change this over time. We are going to keep our API client here. Form defaults seem okay. You know what we'll do is, we're just going to clean all this out. Open, we'll just automatically make it open. On open change, set open. Not really sure I suppose we can keep some of this. So we'll remove a lot of it. And dialog, display component. This is going to be just, let's see what this will normally be. Display component. Yeah. So, oh, this is this button. We really only want to have one of these modals open. We don't want to have a bunch of these components all loaded with just this trigger. I think we can just have one trigger. We don't even need this trigger actually, I don't think. We will, granted, it is kind of interesting on how to, when we close this dialog, what is actually going to allow us to. So is there an on close for this? So on open change. Yeah, I guess we can keep this and we'll bring that in. But we don't need this trigger at all. And we can use this, we'll call the title, we're gonna call it, we'll just call it task completion for now. We will display the task, so we'll just do like something like this, task completion for the name. And we'll say if no task, return null from there. And this is all the inputs required for this. At least for now, we'll just make the value be basically nothing. We'll comment these guys out and we will get rid of some of these other values here. Okay, and we are not going to have a delete. We will have something that just put something like this for now. Close this up and we will call this, we'll just say complete. Okay, so let's we don't need our we might want to reload our tasks still. Let's get rid of this. We'll get rid of all these guys here because we're not using them. And within our task list, do we have any state here? It does not look like it. So let's have some state and we will call this modal. So we'll say complete dialog open, set complete dialog open. So this is use state. And we are going to just set this as false initially. And what we will do is we are gonna always pass in this new task. And the task is going to be so we actually won't pass in a task. What we don't need a display component. We do want this reload tasks though, at least for now. So reload tasks. So when we open this, we really should get nothing. If we come in here though, and we just say, now if we reload, I was expecting, okay, it's because we have no tasks selected. So let's edit this out And now we always get this item. So task completion 4. Okay, so what we want to do is we are going to update this so when we select a task, it is going to load this as the selected task, and then we're going to send this over to this. What we'll do is a selected date, and this will be, we'll get a selected date. This will be an actual date. And this will also be optional. So if no task or if no selected date, then we're going to return because we don't really know what to do here without that. What we'll do also is we will say an on complete, we will set a close dialog. We'll have one more function, and we'll set that here, and we'll set this to true. So it's always true when we are passing those in. So right in our task list here, we're going to have a new, some new state, and that state is going to be, we're actually going to call this selected. What did we name this? Our select, we're going to call this selected task. And we'll call it selected task date. And this will be set selected task date. And what this will be generally, this will be either undefined. So this will be either the task and date, or it'll be undefined. Okay, and so now what we'll do is when this is set, we will, so we're gonna have our task is equal to selected task, and then our selected date is equal to our selected date is equal to date. Okay, so that makes sense here. That is set now. Let's see if why this is complaining. Oh, and our close dialog. So our close dialog is actually going to just be very simple. We are very simply going to set selected task date back to undefined, which will close our dialog. So we actually want to set this when we click on this on day click. What we're going to do is, we're going to have to pass in some of these responses and we'll move this over. But for now, what we'll do is we're going to, we're actually, what we're going to do is we're going to comment all this code out, and we're going to just very simply do a task. Yeah, we'll do a task, the actual task in question. So it's task, and then the date is going to be new date, where we're going to put the year. So it's our selected month.year get full year, and then our month, and then our day. So let's go ahead and change this, and let's click. All right, so what we want to do one more thing, and that is actually task completion. what we'll do is we'll call this name. We want to say something. So not task completion. We want to say something like the day we actually are clicking. So we'll call it. We can call it the task name. And we could actually literally just call it task dot date. No, it would be selected date. If we just put this, oh, this is complaining because this needs to be something like this. So if we click this to ISO string, what if we do to date string? Okay, so does this make sense? So I'm clicking the 19th of February. Yes, I'm clicking the Monday, February 12th. Yes. What if I go back and I go to January 16th? January 16th, January 1st. Okay, so that actually looks good. And it looks like the cool thing is when we click, that's actually working. So the next thing we want to do is we need to allow us to, depending on the task type, we want to populate this data, our value. So the first thing we can do is we can actually get rid of this name, and we'll populate this in a little bit. But essentially, like right now, let's get it where all the other tasks, we can just do it complete or incomplete. And that'll be based off of if we have something set there already. So we're going to take all this code, and this is really going to become our onComplete method, or on submit. So this is going to be on submit, which means we're going to need our API context in here. So let's get our context, and now we're not using it in that as well. So here's our API client. So on submit, we'll come down here and we will put this on our submit. And what we can actually do too is we can move some of this out. So selected month, year, get date. We'll call this existing completed at, and that will do all this logic here. So I see this completion, and what we really want here is we want the selected date dot get date. So these are all going to just get copied over. So get month, move that. So existing completed at, and we'll use this. This is an async function. Our completed at is going to be our selected date. Response looks good. Okay, that actually looks okay now. So, and what we'll do here is we will wrap this. So if we have that set, we will do incomplete. And not really sure if incomplete is a word, but maybe we'll just call it undo. Um, incomplete and complete. I guess we'll call this. So if I do complete on February 9th, February 19th. Okay, so we actually see that it popped up here. So what we also need to do here is do our close dialog when we're completely done. So it's interesting that this is only reloading if the response is okay. So let's do complete here. There it goes. So there is actually, and if we do incomplete, there it goes away. So this is actually going really, really quick. I'm kind of surprised we haven't ran into any problems, but okay, so there's our post. So the next thing we need to handle for this is our different types. We're going to add our numerical task type. And we want to handle the input that is going to be put into the body. So I guess the best way to think about this is we can actually come into where we have our form data, and well, we know that we know that our value is always going to be an empty string, or it's always going to be a string. So we can actually just put this in here now, like this, and we can actually just take our value, and yeah, I think we can just really just make we want to put our state up here, and we would call this complete value, and then we'll say, yeah, completed value, and set completed value, react.useState. This is a string, and we'll set it as empty for now. And essentially this, when we're completing this, let's look up our index route, and we do a post completed, and that should just be saving our data. So it's just called the data. So it's the completed, we can call this completed data. Very, not the best name, but so we'll just call this data. Okay, so that's what we're actually going to save, and then here we're just going to call this, we'll call this value. The example will be, we won't even have a placeholder for this. The value is going to be completed data, and this will just be set completed data to the value of this. And I think that looks okay. So this is, if I do 1, 2, 3, now it's coming in. If I click, I see the 1, 2, 3, and I'm always seeing the 1, 2, 3. So when we load this, when our task actually changes, we want to reset our, what we do want to do is, if we have an existing, let's pull this down to the bottom here. And so we'll have this task completion, and these will all be like this. We'll pull this down here like this. I just lost my train of thought here. So where are we going with this? Oh, we want to wipe this. So when So we're going to do a react.use effect. And essentially what we want to be doing is we want to watch for when our task changes. And when our task does change, we want to actually wipe out this set completed data. So we're going to set it to null. But actually what we'll also do is when our existing completed changes as well, we'll either set this, so it'll either be, we'll set it to our value, our data, or empty set. So yeah, this thing should be, yeah, it should be coming from the shared directory. Well, it's not. Task complete. Let's go up to the top and see where our, okay, so this data should be right here in this. And that means in our dialog, this is complaining about data does not exist on that type, but yes, it does. Oh, it should be here. Okay, so that goes away. So let's see what this looks like now. And let's check. So this is a numerical. This is a numerical. We want this to go away for sure, but let's see if we click this 1, 2, 3. If I click this, it's empty. If I click this again, it's 1, 2, 3. We can do, if I do ASD, I'm getting a 400. We want to actually display that error. But I can complete here. When we do our task and we add, oh yeah, we're not handling any validation errors. We're just getting 400s. So we really need to be having form errors. In fact, I'm going to add that as a bugs. Form errors / validation errors are not showing up on add edit tasks and complete completions. So that'll be a bug that we can handle in another video. Okay, so yeah, the last item on this is going to be very simply, we only want to show this label here when so if task.type is equal to Miracle, then display this. So if I come here, it's nothing. If I come here, it is something. If I come here, good. So complete, that goes good. And if I just do ASD, that's interesting. I just did ASD. Oh, so it does not actually allow us to, maybe we want to be able to, yeah, this is, maybe we want to be able to put on a completion now. So let's add that as another to do. Add ability to put on a task completion, such as when the input value needs to be changed. Input data needs to be changed. So this will be another feature that we want to just add. But what we can do for now is we can actually make this another button. Does this make sense? Yeah, I suppose it does. So if we come here, we want to be able to, on an existing one, we want to be able to delete. Maybe all these should just say complete, and we'll have delete. So, but we can also have something that says update. So we'll have this on submit, and then we have a delete. So maybe we'll just have a very separate thing that always says on delete. So, right, so on delete equals async. It's this whole guy here. And it's that, but yeah, no, if not existing completed, return as well. And we will just put this guy if we run this code. So this existing thing, so this will show up existing, so existing completed, and then we'll run all this. So if we have an existing completed, we'll always just show this delete button. And this will say on delete. And very simply, this is just going to say delete. So if you have, this is always an option. But we'll also have this on submit, and this will instead, it'll say update, or it'll say complete. So on submit, and we will never, so if it's an existing, we'll do a put. We won't do a delete, we'll do a put here. And we'll put the same body contents. So we have this completed. Yeah, we'll put here, we'll reload the tasks. So when we reload here, so this looks good. We do 1, 2, 3. Now we could do 2, 3, 4. Update, we should get a 404. That sounds good. If we delete, interesting. Oh, it's because we did not reload. We need to close our dialog and reload our tasks once our deletion is done. So const res equals that. So let's look at this guy. We can update, we get a 404, which is expected. If we delete, it goes away. Okay, so that looks good. Complete. We do not want to put an update. So this is only for task type dot is equal to numerical. Then we will display this guy. Well, no, that's actually not true because there's no button here. Okay, so let's undo this. So this is actually, so let's go back to where we did have that. So it's task. So if not an existing, completed at, or if task dot type is equal to numerical, then we will run this code, right? And this is a parentheses here like that. We refresh. So this guy says complete. Now he is. Now it says delete. Here I go 1, 2, 3, complete. And now I can just update this once we have our 404. Once we have this fixed. Okay, I think we are at a good stopping point now. This is now done. We're able to really add data. We still have a couple other these emojis and these photo input types that we need to handle. Our next video, what we'll do is we'll get into adding these form errors, and we will add in, so we got this validation, and then we're gonna add in these puts. So I won't even call this as a bug necessarily, we'll just call this a feature. So yeah, we'll add these. Maybe we'll do our put next in our next video, and then we'll add our validation errors. And I think from there we will actually have a completed app, and we'll need to add these next up after that. So um, I will see you guys in the next video, and see you.